Basilisk, the serpent king that kills with a glance and makes every other snake look harmless by comparison. Rarely longer than your forearm, crown-shaped crest, and a stare that stops your heart before you finish screaming. Medieval bestiaries claim it hatches from a rooster's egg incubated by a serpent, because folklore doesn't believe in normal reproduction. It slithers through deserts, turning stone to sand and plants to ash just by existing nearby. The twist? A mirror ends it instantly. The ultimate predator defeated by its own reflection, vanity weaponized. Weasels kill them too somehow, because ancient writers loved irony. And the next creature doesn't kill you, it just refuses to stay dead. Phoenix, the bird that looked at mortality and said, "Not today, not ever." Brilliant red and gold feathers, wingspan wide enough to block the sun, and a lifespan measured in centuries until it decides to commit spectacular arson. When death approaches, it builds a nest of cinnamon and myrrh, ignites itself, and 3 days later walks out of the ashes like nothing happened. Resurrection on a schedule. Immortality with a reset button. Ancient cultures saw hope in the flames. Modern minds see a creature that can't escape its own cycle, forever burning, forever reborn. The tragedy? It never gets to rest. And the next creature combined 3 animals into one aggressive property dispute. Griffin, half eagle, half lion, entirely territorial nightmare. Wings that could carry off livestock, talons that shred armor, and the confidence of owning both the sky and the ground simultaneously. Griffins don't share. They guard mountains of gold with the dedication of a dragon and the aerial advantage eagles wish they had. Nest near their treasure? They'll hunt you across continents. Their claws were believed to detect poison, their feathers to cure blindness, and their eggs to grant strength, assuming you survive collection. But beneath the monster build, they mate for life. Vicious guardians with romantic loyalty. And the next creature made guardians look reasonable. Dragon, the flying extinction event every culture independently invented. Scales like shields, breath that melts stone, hoarding instincts strong enough to destabilize economies. Western dragons burn kingdoms for disrespect. Eastern dragons control weather and demand reverence. Both varieties share one trait, power so absolute that killing one makes you legendary. They're intelligent, patient, and utterly convinced of their superiority, because when you're an armored fire-breathing apex predator, humility seems optional. Knights die for glory, maidens die for metaphors, and dragons? They die when storytellers need heroes. The next creature took dragon energy and mixed it with creative chaos. Chimera. What happens when mythology throws body parts into a blender and hits chaos mode? Lion head, goat torso sprouting from its back, serpent tail that bites independently, and fire breath because apparently one head wasn't enough threat. It ravaged Lycia until a hero riding a flying horse decided aerial combat beats ground logic. The chimera represents impossible fusion, nature's rules shattered, a walking nightmare that shouldn't function, but does anyway. 3 animals, 1 catastrophic body plan, 0 evolutionary sense. And the next creature guards a gate you never want to see. Cerberus, the 3-headed security system for the underworld, because 1 head might nap. Monstrous hound with serpent mane, dragon tail, and a job description simple as it is eternal. Nothing living enters, nothing dead leaves. 1 head sleeps while the others watch, rotating shifts across eternity, making sneaking past mathematically impossible. Hercules dragged him to the surface once, proved his strength, then returned him because even heroes respect boundary enforcement. Cerberus isn't evil, he's professional. The underworld's HR department with fangs and an attendance policy measured in souls. And the next creature made Cerberus look like a lapdog. Leviathan, The biblical sea monster so massive that whales file restraining orders, scales impenetrable, breath that boils oceans, a body stretching beyond horizons like a living island chain. Ancient texts describe it as chaos incarnate, the untamable deep personified, God's demonstration that some things exist beyond human control. Sailors whispered its name carefully. Storms were its mood swings, whirlpools its breathing patterns. Fighting it? Job tried reasoning with God instead because Leviathan doesn't lose battles. It redefines what losing means. The ocean's final boss on a map labeled "Here be therapy bills," and the next creature is smaller, gentler, somehow rarer than everything before it. Unicorn, the pure white impossibility that only approaches virgins and makes everyone else feel judged. One spiral horn, horse body built for grace not war, and a moral compass stricter than your grandmother's. That horn purifies poison, heals wounds, and grants immortality if you're morally spotless, which disqualifies most of history immediately. Medieval kings paid fortunes for fake horns, narwhal tusks sold as proof magic existed. But here's the reality. Unicorns represent what we can't have, purity we can't maintain, innocence that vanishes when reached for. The rarest creature because it requires something humanity lost. Vampire, the undead aristocrat. At first glance, it's just folklore, a story told to scare children. But this creature is designed, almost perfected for one purpose: draining life. Its appearance is deceptive. Pale skin, sharp features, an elegance that masks hunger. From the shadows, it watches. Patient, calculating, eyes tuned to detect weakness like thermal sensors locked on prey. When the moment is right, it doesn't hesitate. It strikes, fangs pierce, blood flows, the body responds with paralysis. A venom some legends claim induces euphoria. The victim doesn't fight, they surrender. Now comes the real trick. The vampire doesn't just feed, it converts. One bite and the curse transfers. The hunted becomes the hunter, a perfect system of self-replication, immortal, intelligent, unstoppable. But there's one flaw. The vampire weakens in daylight. Ancient texts describe loss of power, forced retreat to coffins and crypts, vulnerable during day, dominant at night, efficient, seductive, eternal. And yet, this legend doesn't end here, because across the Americas, something cruder is hunting. A monster that doesn't seduce. It mutilates. Chupacabra, the goat sucker. A name that sounds almost comedic until you see what it leaves behind. Unlike the vampire's clean punctures, this creature tears. In Puerto Rico, witnesses describe it as reptilian, hunched, with spines running down its back and eyes that glow red in flashlight beams. Some say it's alien. Others claim it's a failed experiment. The truth? No one knows. What they do know is the carnage. Entire flocks drained overnight. Precise puncture wounds in the neck. No blood on the ground. No struggle. Just hollow carcasses arranged like trophies. The creature doesn't hunt for sport. It feeds with purpose, methodical and complete. Its speed is supernatural, reported to leap over fences in a single bound, to vanish into brush without sound. A predator built for rural darkness and isolated prey. Brutal, mysterious, unseen. But speed fades when the moon rises full. Because when transformation begins, another hunter emerges. One that was human moments before. Werewolf, humanity's inner beast given form. During daylight, it walks among us. A neighbor, a friend, a stranger on the street. But when the full moon climbs, the curse activates. Bones crack and reshape. Skin erupts with fur. Teeth elongate into fangs designed for tearing flesh, not draining it. The transformation is agony. Every account agrees on this. Pain so intense the human mind shatters, replaced by pure predatory instinct. What emerges is raw power in motion. muscles dense enough to snap tree limbs, claws that carve through wood and bone, a sense of smell so acute it tracks fear itself, following adrenaline through forests like bloodhounds chasing scent. The werewolf doesn't strategize. It overwhelms. A blur of fur and fury that turns civilization into hunting ground. Its victims aren't drained, they're shredded. Morning reveals the aftermath. Claw marks on doors, blood trails leading nowhere, and sometimes survivors. Infected, cursed to repeat the cycle. The werewolf is contagion and carnage combined. Powerful, tragic, relentless. But power isn't everything. Because deep beneath ancient waters, something massive stirs. A shadow that dwarfs even the fiercest land predator. Loch Ness Monster. Nessie. A name that sounds almost friendly. Almost. Beneath Scotland's deepest lake, something waits. Witnesses describe a serpentine neck rising from black water, humps breaking the surface like submarine ridges. A creature supposedly extinct for 65 million years, yet sightings persist across centuries. If the legends hold truth, this is a plesiosaur, a marine reptile that survived extinction through isolation. Its size is staggering. Estimates reach 20 meters. Flippers powerful enough to generate waves that rock boats. Teeth designed to grip struggling fish in jaws built for an ancient ocean. The loch itself becomes the sanctuary. Over 200 meters deep, pitch black below 30 meters. Sonar scans reveal underwater caves, vast networks where something this size could hide for decades. The monster doesn't surface often. It doesn't need to. It owns an entire ecosystem, a relic predator in a domain humans cannot access. Patient, massive, hidden. And yet, in frozen peaks where temperatures kill, another legend endures. One that leaves footprints 40 centimeters long. Yeti, the abominable snowman. High in the Himalayas, where oxygen thins and cold penetrates bone, something survives. Sherpas have known for generations. Dark fur, reddish-brown to black. Bipedal, towering over 2 meters tall. Built like evolution's answer to extreme altitude, muscle and fat, insulating a frame strong enough to navigate terrain that cripples trained climbers. Its intelligence is the true mystery. The Yeti doesn't mindlessly attack. It observes. It avoids. Expeditions find evidence, caves with bones arranged deliberately, paths through avalanche zones no animal should navigate. Some researchers believe it's a surviving Gigantopithecus, an ancient ape that should have died out 100,000 years ago. When it does attack, witnesses report overwhelming strength, arms that snap bones with casual grip, a roar that triggers avalanches, but mostly it remains hidden. A shadow against rock and ice, ruling mountains too hostile for human settlement. The Yeti isn't just surviving, it's thriving where nothing else can. Adapted, elusive, supreme. But even mountain kings have rivals. And when December 5th arrives, a darker legend descends from alpine peaks. Krampus, the anti-Santa. On Krampusnacht, the night before St. Nicholas Day, this creature hunts. Where Christmas promises gifts for good children, Krampus guarantees punishment for the wicked. Standing over 2 meters tall, it combines human and goat. Horns spiral from a demonic skull. Hooves replace feet. Fur matted with ice and ancient blood. Chains wrap its torso, dragging behind with metallic screams that announce its arrival. Its tongue lolls, impossibly long and prehensile. Legends say it tastes fear. Children who've lied, stolen, or tormented others wake to find Krampus at their bedside. Not to kill, to punish. It carries birch switches for beatings, a wicker basket on its back for abduction. The truly wicked disappear, dragged to underworld caves where screams echo until spring thaw. This isn't mindless violence, Krampus judges. It knows your sins before you confess them. In alpine villages, parents still warn children. Behave, or Krampus comes December 5th. The creature appears only once yearly, but that single night holds more terror than a lifetime of vampires. Judgment, pain, inevitability. From castles to mountains, forests to frozen lakes, every legend rules its domain. But one truth connects them all. In darkness, myth still wears claws. If you watched all the way here, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and comment which mythical creature you think would dominate them all.